So it's been a month since our first interview, since you arrived. So what's it been like living and sharing your daily activities with a group?
It's been very nice. The first week when I came here, I felt a little bit, I was not ready to connect, I think. And I had to get used to it, to seeing every day, seeing people every day, every moment. But then after a week, it got better and better, and I really enjoyed spending the time with all the people and staying up late for just spend talking, having chats, and coming together at dinner and lunch, and it's been very nice. It's been very lovely.
Well, Hugh says that, I've heard Hugh say a few times, community is eating together.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of that in the context of,
I would agree on that, because before I came here, I did not often share meals together. I mean, a few times, for example, like on special occasions, like Christmas, or I don't know. But when I lived with my dad, it wasn't. We didn't really share meals together. I did that when I was a child. We were having like family and eating together, dinner, lunch, and you couldn't stand up until everyone was ready. So and it felt like we were family. I think it's unconsciously it makes a community stronger to eat together. And I think it was also quite nice when like after working, come together and then you can share, and then you can. I was looking forward to every meal, because it was I thought about and all the people sitting there, and actually it's quite funny. Sometimes I came late, not late, but not on time, like 10 minutes later, because I was just enjoying seeing already all the people sitting at the table and then joining. So I would agree on that. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Yeah, it's a funny thing walking in and seeing people already in their activity. Yeah, you observe them like that. So, do you think your understanding or definition or idea of community has changed since being at Braces, or as a result of it?
I think partly, yes. It's funny because I think my understanding of community, or my imagination of community, was different from what I experienced here, but not like in a judgmental way, but just I don't know. I think it depends also. Like, I think there's no go-to community. There's no
not a set definition or
exactly. I think my understanding of a community is like a group of people, like people in general, sharing something, whatever it is, like sharing something. And
so that was your understanding, or it is now?
It is now, yeah. I think I can't really say what my understanding was before, but it was just in my mind. Like, of course, before I came here, I had some visions in my head how it's going to be, and I saw the photos, and I saw all the people together. But when you actually seeing it yourself, of course it's always different when you
different to your expectations.
Exactly. So I think partly changed, and also it changed because
Well, can you think of times or activities in which that made you feel most like part of a community whilst you were here?
Yes. For example, the walk. I remember that very, very, very strong because I think it was just my 3rd day or my 4th day, and we did this walk, and I felt, yeah, it was just nice. We were walking like 5 hours, and at some point I thought like, oh, this is exhausting, but I carried on because I felt like, yeah, it's a weird group, and we're walking, and it's very nice, and having chats, and just, I mean, and I made photos of that, and looking at it makes me very happy because you see all the, seeing the group. The bonfire night after that, sitting at the bonfire together. The music sessions. Well, that is one of the biggest influences, I think. Was one of the biggest influences because I remember the moments where I was like picking up an instrument, and then someone came in and just joined, and we tried to do music together, and it worked out very well.
In a very spontaneous way.
Yeah, exactly. And when we were 4 people, for example, that was also very nice. Like, jamming together. The blindfolded walk, I felt very, very, because usually I wouldn't do that because the imagination, the feeling of it was very strange. But then, because I was the first person in the line, and then feeling that so many people were behind me and following, that felt like a group, like something we share, and we're in this together.
So I had another question that was similar, just really going on from that, like what made you most feel like community, and what made you feel most connection with others? Because maybe they're the same. Maybe you think of them as the same thing, or maybe you don't. I mean, maybe you can imagine, being part of a community, but not necessarily having moments of connection all the time. But there might be a bit of an.
Okay.
I wonder if you think there's a difference between.
There is, yeah. Just the kitchen thing pops in my head when we were in the kitchen. When we were in the kitchen and making lunch. I mean, there wasn't like a very deep connection, but just doing that together and talking and having just nice chit chat felt me very, that was one of the things. And also like working, when I, for example, when I cleaned and I saw other people, just when I came out of the door and seeing other people doing things, I felt very community then, although I didn't interact, but it just that people are there doing active as me.
And I wonder if you feel, something that was quite powerful for me, being in community, was having this feeling that the work that I do and the daily activities that I do are contributing to all of the people that are in the same, that sharing the community with me, and that was a nice source of satisfaction.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's funny when I do the work, I think like, oh yeah, then it's gonna look good for other people, and it's nice for us all, and definitely.
Okay, so what have you learnt about group dynamics? Like living with other people and the trials and tribulations and benefits and.
First of all, I think I learned to be more confident in what I do. When I came here, I was thinking like, oh no, maybe I can't really participate because I don't know that, I don't know this, and I have to learn a lot. But yeah, then I was seeing I have to believe more in myself, because actually the learning thing, that's good. That's what is it about? Yeah, and
what about group, like people together? How people? Yeah, I just wonder if you have any thoughts about the things that you've observed from how people live and work together and communicate and.
For example, how can I explain that? When something needs to be done, you just do it then, because you're in the community together. You know, sometimes I feel like
taking the initiative.
Things are left out because you think, oh, someone else is going to do it. But no, in this kind of situation, you have to do it, because everyone's together in this community. So it's not doing work for others, but doing it for all.
For the whole.
For the
group.
whole, exactly.
That you're part of.
Yeah, and then being not afraid to ask something, to ask for help, or to explain things.
And can you see benefits of living as opposed to living individually, living as a group? Like, what kind of things do you think? Or do you think there's a more benefits in sense of perhaps like more satisfaction in life, or I wonder if you can compare like living more, what benefits there might be to living in this way.
First of all, you're not because I think we as human beings, we need connection with other people. I think that's one of the most important things, because I think otherwise, I mean, there are some people who can live on their own, but it's very rare. So most of the people need connection. So I think that's a huge benefit, because whenever I felt lonely, I knew that I'm not alone here. There's so many people here, and I can connect with them, and I don't know. I mean, in my head there are so many thoughts right now.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, there are so many benefits. I mean, even thinking about leaving is making me sad, because I know I will not lose the people, but I will be on my own, and I will miss the coming together and the.
So are there things that you're gonna take from here? Do you think that, like, based on living in a group in community, are there things that you're gonna carry forward into your life? Do you think?
To be more initiative, more.
Take more initiative.
Yeah, and to open up. That I learned that a lot. I mean, naturally I'm an open person, but at first I thought like, because it's just I'm an open person, but it's based on the environment, and I think I should put more. I think I learned that I can put more trust in me to open up in front of people. Even though I don't really know them, because the reason why I opened up is actually because I saw other people doing it, and there has to be a first person who does that, and it's often like that. There always has to be first person who does it, and then other people see, oh yeah, I can do that as well, and they're just doing it. So I think that's a huge part, like just doing what I want what I feel like doing, what's the feeling, and then not being afraid of, is that now the right place to do that? Can I do that? What could people think? And
well, because ultimately we always have it can always be us that, like, that's an interesting point. Like, it can, you know, you say there's always has to be someone who starts something, but then it's interesting to reflect on that and realise that can just as well be us and not another person.
Exactly, and that's, many things. As I said before, like, things need to be done, so if you see it, just do it, and then,
So can you see benefits or what benefits? Because I think you've touched on a lot of things, positive things of this kind of experience. So what benefits to society do you think there are to living in this way?
No, I think there is.
I mean, perhaps we can say, like, that if everyone had that kind of experience of living in a group, then they might be more inclined to think of the good of the group as opposed to the good of the individual that could have. Okay. Anyway, I can move on. No.
I think it's I know what I think about it, but it's hard for me to put it in words or to find the explanation for it. Because I mean, even having meetings is so important to, like, constantly rethink about certain issues and to also, like, talk about feelings and, like, how people feel.
I think there's big implications in what you say.
I wish I could explain it.
No, it's great. Well, okay, more specific question then. What specifically about sustainability? I don't know how much you've been thinking about it whilst you're here. I know that's like I think that's a big thing for you. But is there any kind of practices or things that you've learnt here that you'd like to incorporate into your life?
Yeah, for example, the recycling thing. I do not know how it is how it's for example, because recycling in Germany is not really, I don't know how it's done, because we divide things in other sections like paper, plastic, and everything. So I don't really know how all the all the things that we use, where they're ending up. I don't know that. And it was the first time I really thought about that topic. So I want to, but I think, there was also a topic before in my life, but now it's
kind of reminded you of it.
Yeah, exactly. To use less of, just trying to buy, for example, food which is not entirely wrapped in plastic or in other things, and I really also love the idea of, not just love the idea, but I wish I can take that a little bit in my, but I don't know how now, but I like growing your own plants and foods. I think that's the best way to to
live more sustainably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you you know what you have, and it's just also so great to see that you planted it yourself and it's growing, and then you can use it, and then you can plant another one. It's just great.
And that is something I think that is easier in a community,
Yes.
having that cyclical thing. So you have, say, ideally a few people working in the garden to make sure that there's lots of food available, and then that's it goes to the kitchen and is cooked and served to the community together, and then there's this more of a connection with the land that we're living on as well, so everything kind of becomes more connected in that way. The people working on the land and then cooking and then serving and all together.
And then using all the byproducts to clean. That's a thing. Didn't really thought about that because didn't know, it wasn't a huge issue. And the planting trees. That's just amazing. That's so cool.
Will you go off and plant some trees?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, I never planted a tree, and I think it's very important.
Okay, so do you think after this experience, would you be likely to want to live in community again?
Definitely, yes. I actually thought about, I thought about coming back, and I also thought about visiting other communities, and I could imagine living like this. I mean, I'm not sure if I would live forever in a community, or in one community. Maybe I would, I don't know, it's hard for me to say that about the future, because I don't know, but I think, it's especially for me, I think it's a nice way to live, because I know that I need balance. I need the balance of being alone and being with people, but I think it was great here because I had the time actually to go, because I was a little bit afraid of that in the beginning, because I saw a documentary, but just like the thought, I thought, maybe there's no time to be alone, and there's no time to just step out for a short period.
But you found that there is.
Yeah, there is. I had, I lived in my room then alone. But for example, taking the walks, that was great. And it's such a big venue.
Grounds,
such a big place, I don't know, that you can just go, because there will be a place where you are, where you can be alone.
Yeah.
There will be a place where no one's around. And so I think that was just great, and
great.
Yeah, all the opportunities as well, that.
Okay, well, any final thoughts that you want to share about your experience?
Yeah, I'm thinking, maybe, I don't know. It was very nice to just try out things for the first time, and seeing that I liked them, and then was encouraged by other people. Lovely.
Great.
Yeah, and all the people. I felt like I was talking a lot, but then it was just nice that people were listening to me and responding to that, and not.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to say? I had one more question, but I don't know if I should ask it.
You can ask it, maybe.
Well, just about whether you think there's anything Braziers could do better. Can be socially, or or sustainability or
Yeah.
But feel free to say if you don't have any thoughts. It's okay.
I mean, it's funny because I learned here also to not, because sometimes I feel like people always try to find something they don't like.
To criticize.
Yeah, to criticize, because it's easy to criticize. And I just I thought about about that, and I was just trying to remind myself, don't do it that much. I mean, it's always good to reflect, but I found myself in some situations where I was, I think, overdoing it, over criticizing, because I was just in the mood. But I think when I came here, it was a little bit hard for me to follow instructions, because there weren't really instructions. I think it's very important, especially for volunteer, because you never know, because every volunteer is like, yeah, of course, every human being here is different, but then especially for the volunteers who are maybe coming from a lot of different backgrounds and cultures, to explain what needs to be done, like in the morning meeting, for example. After the first morning meeting in my first work day, I felt a little bit like confused, because I didn't know what to do, and because no one really told me, and I didn't know who to ask, because I felt like, yeah, I was a little bit afraid, because I didn't know who I should ask. Can I ask them? Is it appropriate? I don't know. Should I know it already? So that was a little bit hard for me, and I think, I don't know how you can improve on it, but I think there should be maybe a person who you can talk to, or you can ask, and you know exactly who the person is. So you can ask them questions, and maybe just having a little bit of brief instructions. So we have the house, we have the estate, and we have the kitchen. So in the kitchen, this is what you need to know, the estate, this is what you need to know, and the house, this is what you need to know, and you can find this and this and that for this particular situation.
So yeah, they're practical things for volunteers.
And then I think, but that's like a more complex issue, and I know it's a sensitive topic. But I was a little bit surprised, because on the website it felt a little bit like, oh yeah, mostly of the food is like, because there was the saying, like, there will be always a vegan and vegetarian option, and it said, like, we don't have much meat days, and but then when I came, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but in my head I was like, oh, so maybe I'm not the only vegan then, and I thought, like, oh yeah, that's great, and then I came here and I was it felt a little bit like, but no, I don't know.
But that's based on maybe the perhaps expectations.
I think just there should be more education about the food
supply.
And what how can I say that? I don't know the word. What the impact on the environment is. I think that's very important, because I feel like it's an information that's not really spreading. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's good to always talk about environmental. I mean, there are a lot of things. You have to be take care of
a complex issue,
Yeah, but I feel like food, there's not a lot of attention on what the impact on the environment is, especially meat.
Okay, well, yeah.
But I don't know how. Yeah, it's
All right. Well, it's. I mean, I think it sounds like you've had a positive experience and benefited a lot on a personal level from this experience. So yeah, that's great. So, is there anything? Or if you have nothing left to say, then we can conclude it there.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks.